And welcome to Have I Got News For You? I'm Sue Perkins, and in the news this week, after the winner of the Bake Off is announced, the producers reveal from all the thousands who entered the person who actually came last. On their way to the Belfast Museum of Peace, there's a quick stop at the BBC studios for Ian Paisley's dentures. And after a long day, having heard so much about the Manchester rave scene, one man prepares to go clubbing for the very first time.
And again.
With Ian tonight, a TV personality who has been around the block a bit and is now an unlikely sex symbol. I think of him as the Mary Berry of The Apprentice. Please welcome Nick Ewer. And joining Paul tonight is a comedian who looks exactly like the portrait in Richard Branson's attic. Please welcome Tony Law. And so we start with the biggest stories of the week. First up, Ian and Nick, take a look at this.
Pinball. There's a game of chance. There's a kiss for everyone, not for you, Nick. Big one for Danny. Let's vote. Who's a friend of Nick's? They've all had them now. UKIP, Tories, Labour, and that was the Lib conference. It was the least of all the big conferences. Did you go, Nick?
I didn't. The problem is that I'm in turmoil politically.
Oh, really?
Why?
Because no way am I voting for the Tories. I've never voted for the Tories. I've always voted Labour, even...
Did you vote for Kinnock?
Come
on.
We can all make mistakes. It was post-Sheffield.
Now, what's been the theme of the Lib Dem conference this week?
We're still here. They're down to 6%, so it should have been a really gloomy conference, but they seem terribly happy. I feel they're not going to lose any voters to UKIP. Partly because they don't really have any voters.
Yeah.
So that makes them in quite a strong position. They're the only party who think they're going to be in the next government. And they're probably right. Even if they're wiped out, there's going to be some sort of coalition with Clegg in charge.
Yeah.
So it's vote anything, get Clegg.
The main theme tended to be, it wasn't us that did all the bad stuff, it was the Tories. We just did the stuff that worked.
I mean, Clegg's thing was basically the Tories are really evil and I'm going to go into coalition with them again. It's quite a tough pitch. But, you know, they clapped a bit.
Yeah, they did.
His wife clapped.
Talking about wives...
Yes.
Very interesting. I went to that Pride of Britain thing the other day,
Right.
and Cameron got up there, and Sam Cam, who my son-in-law snogged at school... She said she was crap. She said nothing.
What were the other school prizes?
I met Sam Cam once, and I said, my son-in-law sends his warmest regards. And she said, really? And she asked his name, I told her, and I said, he told me he snogged you. And she said, he was a very naughty boy. And I said, he said, you were great.
This has gone dark and pervy.
True story. True story.
And you still don't know how to vote.
Clegg used an odd American phrase to describe the Tories, beating up on the poor. Why would he say that? Why do you beat up on someone? Do you use that in Canada? Is it a Canadian thing?
I don't remember. In Trinidad they do, though.
They beat up on people.
They say beat up on.
Do you think
Sounds
that's where
nicer
Cleggy
like
got
that.
it from?
Of course he did. I was with Cleggy out there for Carnival. Yeah, he's nuts. What do you think he's got no ideas?
How many...
We hit it hard. Rum punch, Clegg style. Oh man, too much hot sauce on the roti, huh? You're right, it is good accent.
What did Nick change 4 times in one day?
His clothes. He had a different outfit for every policy change.
Yeah. Let's have some pictures of these clothes. There they all are. Now, the last look there, the chinos and the dark shirt came in for quite a lot of stick.
Yeah, it looks like Vicar on a Saturday.
Nick, I imagine you kick back with more of a jegging.
With what?
Jegging is like a tight legging.
Oh, come on.
Yes. Now, who else is disgruntled? This is according to Lib Dem policy chief Duncan Brack.
Mrs. Bragg.
Not Mrs. Brack. He said the Lib Dem vote is public sector workers, students and intellectuals, and we have contrived to fuck them all off.
Was that part of their party political broadcast? How do you become an intellectual? It's not just enough to say you're an intellectual. Other people have to recognise your intellect, don't they?
No, I just say it.
You just say, I'm an
Just say
intellectual.
it.
Yeah.
I'm an intellectual.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Winner.
So when people ask you what you do, you just go, I'm an intellectual.
I'm a philosopher. And homeless.
According to the Mail snobbery correspondent Quentin Letts, what is... Oh. Did your son-in-law also snog him?
He's not witty, he's cruel and unkind. I don't care for him.
And he's our special guest here tonight.
He said that something was wrong with a prospective Lib Dem leader who's called Tim Farron. What did he say was wrong with Tim? Oh, there's a list brewing. He said he was ostentatiously northern. One speaker at the conference described the Lib Dems as the Morrisons of politics. Come on, that's not fair. Morrisons deliver. How do you describe UKIP?
It'd be funny if they're like Lidl. Because that's like all foreign.
Lidl is right. Lidl is right. And also... What,
That was an accident. I didn't mean to get that right.
Lidl and Aldi.
Why did UKIP get Aldi? They're Poundland, sure.
Is Poundland a supermarket?
I've no idea.
When your butler comes back from there, what sort of... Does he show you the receipts?
The leadership polls are very revealing.
Yeah.
You can see you've got Cameron ahead with -7. Look at QI scores. Ed is -35. Clegg's -42, which is the lowest in history. And Farage is just -1.
When he's being interviewed, you know, he drops his lit cigarette on the ground, does the interview, then bends down, picks it up, and off he goes again. Big smoker.
This is Nigel Farage you're talking about?
Yeah.
We thought you were talking about Clegg.
Oh, no.
Clegg's not a smoker?
No.
I've no idea.
You're just a gift that keeps on giving, you are, you really. So, you'd mentioned the by-election. How's it going in the by-election, you think?
We don't know. We're recording before it goes out.
I mean, what is it now? Westminster probably now will have its first UKIP MP. So, come on, then. Yep. I don't think that made enough noise, actually, so... Nigel Farage, he's been in the Labour stronghold of Hayward. He was at a tank museum. He told the Times, no, I will not be standing on a tank.
I like the fact that there's a little sort of orange warning sign at the top of the tank to let you know that there's a tank underneath it.
In his conference speech, Vince Cable described the Conservative Party as UKIP without the beer, and Labour as French socialism without the sex. Whereas the Lib Dems are the Tories without the seats. Paul and Tony, please have a look at this.
Yes, it's the flag. Oh, yes, number plates. There was a bit of a fuss this week, or... yeah, there they are, the top girls. Yes, and that's them being run out of Argentina in 1928. Yes, they were filming Top Gear in Argentina, in fact, and the locals noticed that one of the number plates seemed to refer to the Falklands War.
Do you know the exact digits on it that referred to the Falklands?
1982...
There's an H first.
H, sorry.
H982FKL. The number plates of other cars actually also came into question too. One of them actually was EKH646J.
What's that significant of?
I think that was casualties, wasn't it?
Some people thought that 646 is suspiciously close to 649, which is, you say, the number of Argentine casualties.
646, neighbour of the beast. An oldie but a goodie, right? Still borrow each other's trampolines.
But Clarkson, very quick to give his version of events. What did he have to say?
This was a complete accident. We have no idea how this happened. The show is very, very vigorous in making sure that these kind of things do not appear on screen, and we rather thought we'd get away with it.
People said if you're in Argentina, where the General Belgrano went down with quite a lot of losses, words with Bell in it, an end, probably not a good idea.
I thought it was disgraceful.
So you're not convinced at all by his defence?
No. Not a bit. Chances his arm.
You and I are going out fighting tonight, aren't we?
Yeah. But they found another number plate in the car.
Yes.
That said, Bell End.
That's where he lives, isn't it? He gets a lot of letters delivered to him, I know that.
The newspaper has actually translated this. This is the Tierra del Fuego newspaper. The translation of the English phrase is final bell. Sort of. Although other sources we contacted yesterday told us that the word bell end, all one word, is in fact an insult. It's reference to the head of the penis. Those Top Gear coincidences just keep rolling on.
Final bell.
The bookies were asked to give their verdict on the odds of such a thing happening coincidentally. Did anyone
I'll go to the bookmaker, they're the first person I'd ask.
You know they're going to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone see what their obviously highly scientific calculation was?
No.
No.
According to the Mirror, William Hill said the odds of coincidentally buying a car with that particular registration number to take to Argentina was about 13 million to 1. And then somebody told them that Clarkson was involved, and they went, oh, hang on, evens. Their hotel in Ushuaia was besieged by...
Spitting angry llamas.
Not the llamas. It was an ugly mob of truckers, so the standard Top Gear audience you would have thought. They managed to escape. How did they do that?
They ran for it. No, they hid in the hotel.
They did. Richard James and I bravely hid under the beds in a researcher's room. What's the BBC going to do now? What do you think their response is going to be?
They're going to say it's your last chance, Jeremy. The last one was the slope one, and this one is the last.
Well, according to The Independent, they are planning to ask the Top Gear crew about the registration plate, but not in an investigative way. Probably should get Newsnight to do a programme about it and then shelve it, you know.
I drove across Argentina. I've never been so bored in my life. It's a straight line
Yeah.
from Buenos Aires to Santiago with one little curve in it.
Did you? On the curve, did you just, like, go off? I did not see that coming. It's been mostly straight, and then, whoa, you chuck a curve in there?
I think you two should do Top Gear.
So it wasn't a successful or spur-of-the-moment holiday?
It was awful. The only good thing was I went to see Allende's Palace in Santiago. It's got the biggest flag in the world outside. And if you go at midnight...
And the largest pencil, I believe. Was the steak good, though? I was wondering.
The steaks were good in Buenos Aires. Fantastic. Lomo steak.
Lomo?
Lomo.
What's that?
Steak.
This is... Okay. I like how you said it like that.
Nick, I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last time you were excited by anything? This is Top Gear's trip to Argentina with Jeremy Clarkson, once again proving to be about as welcome around the world as the Ebola virus. Some people admire Clarkson's attempts to wind up foreigners, but I'll only be impressed when he drives into ISIS-held territory with a number plate that reads 1515 GAY. Jeremy Clarkson described how he hid under the bed in a researcher's room, which he normally only does when the researcher's husband comes home. Ian and Nick, here's another one for you.
That's the police. Someone listening in. The police have been caught trying to find journalist sources, which everybody used to think wasn't legal. But due to something called RIPA, which is not a sort of BBC One 9 o'clock thriller, it's the Regulation of Investigative Powers Act. The police can do this. They don't even have to ask a judge. They can just go straight in and say, I want the phone records of that journalist, so I want to find out who his source is. It is quite serious. And it's, you know, you don't have to feel sorry for journalists, but if they can do it to journalists, they can do it to all of you.
You're absolutely right. They're not hacking into phones, but they are allowed to get, as you say, phone records of who's phoning who.
Very interesting. You remember this? Some years ago, I had to give evidence for the DTI in a case called the City Slickers case. And they asked me for all my phone records, and I said, I don't keep them. They said, oh, well, what a shame. Anyway, they got them. The DTI just got them.
They got them anyway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Do you remember that was the one when Piers Morgan was editor of The Mirror at the time, I think?
He was, yes.
Yeah. I gave evidence against The Mirror.
Did you do it in that voice?
To protect your identity, did you appear as a 7-year-old girl? That's the thing. Behind the screen.
You're right. It all hinges on RIPA. Care to hazard, just this year, how many times on average they've used this power?
11.
11 is getting near. They've actually used, well, it's hard to disclose official statistics because 26 police forces have refused to say, but the official estimate is that last year, 514,000 occasions this was used. That's 1,400 times a day. Mainly, I think, just looking through your stuff, Nick. What's Hume got to do with it?
He was driving a car when he said he wasn't driving a car.
Yeah, exactly. He said his wife was driving the car.
Yeah.
And then the Mail on Sunday had this story, and then Kent police wanted to find out how they got the story. So they thought they could ask the journalist, but the journalist would say no. So they said, oh, right, we'll just go and get the records. So they went and got the records, and they found the source. Which, I mean, it is quite dangerous, really. And it's meant to be to, you know, find terror suspects, which we're all, you know, that sounds like a very good idea.
Yeah.
But, you know, Chris Hume, there's a lot of things I've got against him, but being a terror suspect isn't one of them.
Meanwhile, what's he been up to?
Is he trying to get his costs back?
He is. He's got a share of his costs amount to £77,000. And the trial, of course, cost tens of thousands more than it needed to.
Because he pleaded not guilty.
Until the very bitter end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. That's the only bit of news that's made me angry. That excites you, Nick?
Very much. He's got a personalised number plate. That shows the sort of chap he is.
Really? Justice Secretary Chris Grayling is suggesting what?
That we leave the European Convention on Human Rights,
Yes.
which is the one that enshrines the code about journalists not having to reveal their sources.
Absolutely.
Two contrary ideas for the Sun to put in their head.
And talking of police, this is the lobby at the headquarters of Cheshire Police HQ. What happened next?
Well, when one sees sliding closing doors, one assumes that they won't open when the man walks towards them. He's going at quite some speed. He bounces off that, falls back onto that rubber mat there, which is made of solid rubber, which propels him back upwards again. And over the course of the next 14 hours, he steadily knocks himself unconscious.
That would be a better way to go, perhaps, but this is exactly what happened. Just every day.
I'd like to report a burglary.
This is the police using anti-terror laws to snoop on journalists. Nowadays, no publication is safe from the police's high-tech surveillance methods, except Private Eye, because they don't have a computer, just a typewriter and a handwritten card index.
They see that that's funny.
Paul and Tony, here's another for you.
Ah, yes, this is the it's cricket being played. It must be Kevin Peterson. He's brought a book out about his unpopularity with the rest of the England team, and that's them just deciding who's going to bat first. Yeah, so bullying in the England team. He's come forward and said that he was bullied, and other people said he wasn't bullied. So it's about how the England team tore themselves apart about a year ago.
Absolutely right. How did the England's team bullying of the 6'4" Kevin Peterson manifest itself?
The fake Twitter account. Somebody who's a friend of a couple of the England players ran a sort of KP Twitter parody account thing, and he got very upset and was reduced to tears by it.
I thought KP were nuts, weren't they?
He's tending that way. He was almost poetic in the way that he described it.
Yes.
I'll let the man speak for himself.
In terms of the parody Twitter account, that I was led to believe from a former England player who was told by the guy who set the Twitter account up that it was being run from inside my dressing room. And when I got told that, I just immediately, I had that feeling that when you think you've lost your phone or you've lost your wallet and your heart sinks.
Yeah, like the big stuff, you know. And do you know what he called his head coach, Andy Flower?
The mood hoover.
Brilliant, yes, the mood. I love the idea of
mood
a
hoover,
mood
mood
hoover.
hoover.
Because you could go over the Lib Dem conference with a mood hoover, couldn't you? Then you'd feel terrible. It'd blow back and it'd be, ooh.
He's got a big old vacuum cleaner bag full of...
Can you imagine what a Lib Dem blowback would feel like? How did the ECB respond to these terrible allegations?
They deny them.
Yeah, there's a leaked draft of a dossier, as you say, which has got all his misdemeanours in, and they include looking out of a window, looking at his watch, appearing to be disengaged, and the worst, whistling insouciantly.
And that's a difficult tune to whistle. One of the smaller, lesser-known tunes in Camelot, but I mean, it's great lyrics.
Who does he say were the real baddies of the English?
The bowlers.
Who was the ringleader?
Charles Manson.
Was it Matt Pryor that he think was the ringleader?
What does Peterson call Matt Pryor?
The big cheese.
Right, and KP said he's more like the Dairy Lee triangle that thinks it's a brie.
Oh!
I
don't like the way sport's going, so...
Cricketers have said the England team were only indulging in standard dressing room banter.
Banter!
Dance! They don't know the kind of banter these, the sort of jokes these lads get up to.
Put Nair in the pants.
Oh, that would... Oh, dear.
You should have seen old Cleggsy. Lost all his pews. It was hilarious. Banter. And then we shoved a minority. Banter.
They gave someone 2 left-handed batting gloves
Yes.
as they went out to bat. This is the national team, you know. And little Joe Root, or Rooty, likes to snip the end of players' socks, so when they pull them up, it goes straight up over their knees.
Classic.
Banter. You know what Freddie Flintoff used to do?
He used to drink his own urine. Banter.
He snuck a real pig's head into a teammate's locker.
Legend.
You know, as someone's going to book out news,
Yeah.
whose autobiography contains this momentous admission. Ultimately, I lost the Battle of Saipan.
Nobody we've mentioned so far. It's not Kevin Peterson.
It's not Kevin Peterson.
Give us a clue.
Another sporting figure.
Is it Wayne Rooney?
You're closer.
Rain Rooney.
I'd like to read that.
Is it George Clooney?
It's not a derivative of Rooney, no.
Roy Keane.
It is Roy
Must be
Keane,
Roy Keane,
yes.
yes.
And when he says, ultimately, I lost the Battle of Saipan, this is referring to one of Roy's many red, misty moments when he walked out of the Ireland team in the 2002 World Cup in Japan. He's calmed down a little bit since then. Let's take a look at him.
Apparently beards are very, very fashionable now.
Well, why are you looking at me?
No. But if you walk the streets,
Yes.
As I do.
Yeah.
you'll be
insomnia.
amazed at the number of men with beards.
What time of night are you walking?
We know that Roy Keane has exacting moral standards. What do you think about player Robbie Savage?
Oh, he wouldn't like Robbie Savage. He phoned him up and he didn't like the way he answered the phone, so he didn't bother to sign him on the basis of that.
That absolutely is right. He wanted to sign him because he thought he's a flamboyant character and he thought he'd rev up the dressing room. Actually, it was when he was at Sunderland.
Oh, right, yes.
And he said, I got Robbie's mobile number and rang him. It went to his voicemail. Hi, it's Robbie. What's up? Like that Budweiser ad. I never called him back. I thought, I can't be fucking signing that. Yeah, you're right.
I remember him on the field.
Robbie Savage.
He was a rough player.
What did he do?
He used to play with a crossbow. Very dangerous player.
Well, the most revealing moment in this book deals with Roy's exit from Man United. Do you,
Yes.
do you know this story? He'd signed for Celtic.
Celtic.
But he was still living in Manchester. He had 3 months left on the contract for his Man United company car. So this is what he said. I drove almost every day up to Glasgow and back. I put some miles on that bastard. Every victory's vital.
I'll show this car.
Kevin Peterson savagely criticised Matt Pryor in his new book, calling him the big cheese and saying he was a negative influence. Horrendous, backstabbing, bullying, grinding guys down. Calm down, Kevin. It's not like he took your baked Alaska out of the freezer.
Banter!
Victor of one of Keane's tackles mocked his recent beers, tweeting this picture. Well, I think it's unfair to compare him to Saddam, as Roy Keane actually was capable of launching a violent attack within 45 minutes. And so to round 2, the one-armed bandit of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here we go. Ian and Nick.
This is Putin. It's the return to Soviet realism. There being some paintings commissioned portraying Putin as Hercules. Not ironic. Totally down the line, he's a hero.
What was the occasion?
His
It's
birthday.
his 60th birthday.
It's 62nd birthday. He turned 62.
This fella
Not a fan?
is an outrage. No, seriously, I think we've got problems with this chap.
This,
Nothing gets past Nick.
No. It's forensic, isn't it? You have alluded to the exhibition that celebrates his birthday. There were a grouping of these pictures. Do you know what they were called?
The 12 labours of Putin.
There were 12 labours. They were the 12 labours
Oh,
of
wow.
Putin, yeah. And as
Wow.
you say, he was Hercules,
Yep.
battling Western nations in a variety of guises.
have we got any of these paintings?
Oh, we certainly have.
lovely.
This is a sinister one showing him guarding the pipeline.
Look, it's here. You like my nipple?
This is him fighting off, and I quote from the artist, the horses of corruption. Finally, here he is, battling Roy Keane. There's also a lovely video that some Russian children made, if you'd like to have a look at it. It's called Happy Birthday, President of Russia. Do sing along, everyone, if you know the words. Oh, I love this.
Sing if you're glad to be gay.
Oh, enough of that.
Dentistry isn't a priority, I see.
So that might seem grand. It's simply not quite as sycophantic or shit as the BBC's new music initiative, though. Let's go back to my favourite shot here. Look, there she is. She's brought a wrapped-up corpse of a dissident journalist.
These paintings is the old story when in the 1970s, and Brezhnev was going to visit Poland, and he said, I've got to take them a present. I'm going to take them a big painting, get me a big painting of Lenin in Poland. So the artists go away and they come do a bit of research. They come back and they say, Brezhnev, look, we haven't got, Lenin never went. I'm not interested if Lenin never went to Poland. I want a painting. Lenin's in Poland. That's what I want the painting of. So the artist paints away and comes back 3 weeks later, and Brezhnev is just about to go to Poland. He says, where's the painting? He says, it's here. He reveals the painting. He says, Lenin in Poland. He sees there's a couple in bed. He says, well, who's that woman there? He says, that's Mrs. Lenin. He says, who's that bloke? He says, that's Trotsky. He says, where's Lenin? He says, Lenin's in Poland.
Fingers on buzzers, please, teams.
There's a cat that's obsessed with the Great British Bake Off. He doesn't seem to be that obsessed with it at the moment. He's got his back to it. But generally speaking, this was a cat that was, I think it's got some backstory. Whenever it comes on, it just sticks its head on the screen and it picks up a lot of static electricity. And at the end of the programme, you can just sort of rub it on your shirt and stick it on the wall.
He's right. It's the news that... I'll take any viewers I can get. Yeah. Roger the Rescue Cats has been helped through a foot injury. So it's not just that he likes the show, it has a cathartic effect about it. How did this love manifest itself?
Writing love letters to that one who looks like he's in a porn movie. What's he called?
Paul Hollywood.
Yeah. Circa 1986, you know what I mean?
I didn't know
I have
his
come
early
to
work.
fix your pipes.
Well, according to his owner, Rachel McDermott,
yes,
he would couple up with us and watch TV, but when the Bake Off music came on, he started twitching his head and getting excited.
And running towards the off button.
What are his owners worried about?
That they put in too many human characteristics into their cat. That when the Great British Bake Off finishes, he'll probably hang himself or something.
They are absolutely worried exactly about that. They say, I don't know what he'll do after the final. Join the club, love. This is all I've got till May. This is Roger the cat. He was cured, as Paul said, of his injuries thanks to the Great British Bake Off. Just goes to show all sorts of people watch Bake Off, even single women with cats.
Am I the only person in the whole country who's never seen a single episode? Is it too late?
I've never seen a single
episode. It's awful. Everybody says you've got to watch it. It's just brilliant. But cooking, if I start watching your programme, it's a slippery slope.
Right, what towards New Mandem?
I only just recently discovered where the kitchen is. I'm certainly not bloody going in there. And I'm certainly not turning anything on.
UKIP is beckoning.
Time now for the odd one out round. Ian, Nick, your four are a hyena in Japan, John Donne, Greg Wallace, and Thor.
It's about Strictly.
The hyena's still in it, yeah.
It's not about Strictly.
Thor's about to become a woman. That must be the clue.
It's very good, yes.
That must be Marvel Comics are going to bring out a female version of Thora, presumably.
It's Tora, in which the mighty god finds a biscuit down the back of the sofa.
It's Tora at last, Alan Bennett. We meet at last. I'm just an evil genius, I suppose.
More of that.
It's about so the hyena. They don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Thor's changing gender, but that's as far as I get, I'm afraid. So Greg Wallace is the odd one out. Without knowing whatever reason.
Greg Wallace is the odd one out.
Yeah.
Can you think why Greg would be the odd one out?
Because he is a woman.
Well, I'll give it to you because you're on the right track.
Yeah.
They've all been replaced by females, except MasterChef host Greg Wallace, who got into trouble this week for saying that 2 women couldn't present MasterChef because it's too blokey.
So has he been replaced on a banknote or something?
What, Greg Wallace?
Is he on a banknote?
Yeah, it's on £10 note. No, I think of John Donne.
No, he has been replaced by Hertford College because they want to put more women on their walls. They have taken the picture of John Donne down.
John Donne down.
Room for both of them.
Not in this world, Nick. There's a new order coming in, and it's got tits. According to The Independent, Wallace was responding to Alan Carr's observation that Tess Daly and Claudia Winkleman were currently the only female duo on prime time television. What other revelations emerged about Greg in the run-up to his Strictly appearance?
No pants.
Exactly. Greg went commando. Yep. When his tailored trousers split in a rehearsal with his dance partner, Aliona, Greg said, Aliona laughed until she realised I wasn't wearing underwear. I never do. She went, I've been dancing with you for 2 weeks and this thing has been swinging around. Marvel Comics have made the momentous decision to have Thor undergo a sex change. Will Hollywood follow suit? Well, he's tempted, and Mary Berry says she'll stand by him. Now, a zoo in Japan's been forced to postpone its hyena breeding programme after discovering both of its hyenas were male after 4 years. What was the zoo's excuse?
They were laughing so much they thought they were having a good time.
So they've all been replaced by females, except MasterChef host Greg Wallace. Before being voted off strictly, Greg Wallace said he was never, ever going to have an affair with his partner, Aliona Villali, as she's not one of the happy cuddlies. She probably is, Greg, just not with one of the chubby baldies. Paul and Tony,
yes.
Here are yours. So you've got Francois Hollande, Matt Pryor, General Noriega and the Duke of Wellington.
Well, Matt Pryor's already come up, hasn't he? Because he was mentioned, he calls himself the Big Cheese. The only thing I can remember about General Noriega was his nickname was Old Pineapple Face.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm thinking that cheese and pineapple there must be leading me towards the right answer. So
yeah.
We have Pryor and Noriega are named after foodstuffs. Wellington, Beef Wellington was named after him. They've all got named, all nicknamed after foods, but Matt Pryor's the only one that's chosen his own name.
You're on the right track. Think Earl of Sandwich as a clue.
Earl of Duke Wellington's only thing has had a foodstuff named after him, and all the others have named themselves after foodstuffs.
Is the right answer.
Wow.
Well done. Very good. General Noriega, as you said, Paul, was nicknamed
Face.
Old Pineapple Face.
Yes.
And that was by Panamanian citizens who poked fun because he had a rather pockmarked visage.
Yes.
And as we discussed earlier, England cricketer Matt Pryor's nickname is the Big Cheese. Do you know what Francois Hollande's nickname is?
Hollandaise.
No, you'd think so. If not, that's a lost leader.
Oh, the dentist from Rouen.
That sounds dark. Very, very dark. Named after a pudding.
Chief Flambe.
Will do, actually, it's Flamby.
Ah,
So
Flamby.
his name's Flamby, so well done, yeah. His latest mistress knows him as Pizza, as he often arrives late and on the back of a scooter. Other dessert-related news, 1 in 6 women claim they would prefer a slice of cake to what?
Sex.
Don't say that and look at me like that. It is sex.
It was a night of passion, I think, was the exact phrase. I read it with some interest.
And also, it's like...
I may be 70, but one is still on active service, you know.
Legend.
Time now for the Missing Words Round, which this week features as its guest publication the British Brick Society magazine. Full of speculation about bricks, but nothing concrete. And we start with Lord Sugar. I'm what?
I'm Melanie at weekends. I'm not a bully, he said this week.
He did. He said, I'm no bully. The Apprentice returns next week, of course. Last year there were 16. This year there are 20 people, all vying for the opportunity to be locked in litigation with Lord Sugar in about 18 months' time. Next, man builds life-size Cliff Richard to what?
Pass the time.
Help the police with their inquiries. To impress his wife.
Wives are involved. It's actually to protect wife.
Oh.
So, yeah. Let's see the Cliff doll in action.
Yep. Got a bit of Jackson in him.
Yeah, a bit of Michael Jackson. Well, let's rephrase that, but I think it looks a little bit like...
Next, man rolls what up a hill?
Himself, very awkwardly.
No. Man rolls giant 6-foot testicle.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Cantley has been travelling through North America with a giant testicle, whereas Richard Hammond and James May have been travelling through South America with a massive dick. So next, Coronation Street features what?
Northerners.
Coronation Street features thousands of bricks.
Oh,
Cobblestone, bricks, houses.
I think that's pretty good. It features 400,000 bricks. Is the answer to that. They've rebuilt the Coronation Street set in Salford, and apparently 400,000 bricks were used, including 140,000 reclaimed bricks. Oh, that's a lot of cars back on wheels. Next, Jesus Christ had no what?
Fun.
Mobile phone signal.
The answer was simply beard. Jesus Christ had no beard.
Oh, yes, they found a very early drawing where he doesn't have a beard.
When was the first thing that he did that was of note?
Smoked weed in high school.
4th century engraving this was in. You were absolutely right. It's a very early manuscript, shows Jesus clean shaven. However, some theologians remain convinced that Jesus did have a beard. And the church is going to solve this debate the only way they know how, with a brutal, millennium-long schism. And finally, Britain's dullest men, what?
Rarely get laid in a straight line.
They pose for a 2015 calendar.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. Here's Mr. September. Wow. So, the final scores are, with 5 points, we've got Ian and Nick, but soaring ahead with a magnificent 12 this week, it's Paul and Tony.
Wow.
On which note we say a big thank you to our panellists Ian Hislop and Nick Hewer, Paul Merton and Tony Law. And
Can I just mention the fact, because people have got books out, and I just wanted to show, just briefly there, you see, look, do you see that? Can you just get that? Do you see that? There we are, look.
with news that during his speech to students at his old school, Prince Philip decides to try out some of his edgier material. At a Burger King, there's disappointment for one customer as he's told they don't serve shakes. And at a pub in Clacton, the barman still hasn't returned 5 hours after saying he needed to change a barrel. Good night.
Coming next, Trust No One here on BBC One. Al Pacino and Colin Farrell star in our spy thriller, The Recruit. More comedy over on BBC Three, confronting Wall Street bankers. Watch out, America, the revolution will be televised, and it's starting in 5 minutes.